Today's July 4th, 2020, Saturday, and I'll be picking up from Breaking Out of Context Part 2. I wanted to talk more about Gabriella, a fellow classmate of mine from second grade. So, on Part 2, I said that Gabriella told the teacher during the time the class was in the stairwell that she said that I slapped her on the face. And I mentioned that there's a gap between the boys line and the girls line. There's a huge gap, and my my right arm isn't long enough to slap Gabriella on her face. So what I didn't mention on the video is that I ended up seeing Gabriella nearly a decade nearly a decade later because I was in second grade in 2002. So in 2011, I ended up seeing Gabriella. And this was at the eye doctor. And the reason why I went to the eye doctor that day with my mom and sister is because of something that happened with my eye. At that time, I was living with my father and his girlfriend, while my sister and my mom lived in a shelter. They lived in Far Rockaway too, my mom and my sister, but I live deep in Far Rockaway. So I had to take a Q113 bus and I had to spend at least an hour traveling on a bus, which is ridiculous. There is no way that I can travel that far from school all the way to my father girlfriend house without taking some sort of van during the morning time. But when I leave from school during the afternoon, I would take the bus because I have plenty of time. So when I was living with my father, I would use the computer a lot, and the computer would help me with my homework or my exams. So that's one of the reasons why I would use the computer at that time, and I was also making money on the internet. So I started talking more about the governments during 2011 after an incident happened with me and my cousins, saying they accused me of having a knife and punching my little cousin in the face. One of the reasons why I was living with my father and his girlfriend. But each day I had this I I was so angry with how I was put in a situation where I was living with Aunt B. How my cousins called the cops on me and accused me of having a knife and punching my cousin in the face. And I started to develop these urges to get my ideas online and also talk about my experiences with people. As I started talking online, I noticed that the people are people that usually be sociable towards me aren't sociable, meaning that they're not interacting with me when I talk about any topics, as if the people around me all had all had a mind to keep their distance away from me at specific times. And knowing how my father behaved and how my family behaved and his girlfriend, I was saying to myself, what is this? What is this behavior? So it this behavior that I received from people drove me to continue to write on the internet. When I was in my when I was in my mom's house, I was writing about governments, but not that much until I ended up in a situation where I wanted to talk. I wanted to figure out why this is happening to me. I created that thought about governments. I didn't know there's people online who had these experiences saying that the government is doing this to them because I don't interact with people online. The reason why is because people intimidate me. And the reason why people intimidate me, I feel intimidated from people, or you could say for the people always intimidate me because of the way they had attacked my grammar or how they make remarks about the way they just make remarks, personal remarks, right? They criticize every single thing about me, my grammar, my experiences, and they would confront me among more than one person on online. No matter what community, online community I join, I get the same treatment from people, and I felt intimidated. I feel scared to just write my ideas online. I feel like I just feel like backing away and not interacting with no one. But I continue to write online. Even though I was feeling intimidated, I started finding another way to write my ideas online on a bigger community. So I joined a bigger community called socialanxiety.com. And that's when I started writing my ideas. And I noticed that when I write my ideas online, my father and his girlfriend gets affected. They started having arguments with one another. My father said since I live with him and his girlfriend, they started having arguments every single day until one night I go to sleep. I wake up, my whole entire bottom eye felt like there's glass beneath my eyeballs. This was my right eye, and it's not going away. I went to school with this sharp pain on my bottom of my eyeball. It's not going away. And at that time, I would also have dreams with words. I saw words, not like bold words. So, for instance, there would be a parking lot, and it would show words in the parking lot. It would say stop, or it would say sir. It would say stop, but it would have these stop signs in a different way. It's not the way it's shown that I know of it, or it would have different languages that I never saw in my environment, but it's using English words, but it's another language. And I would see this dark tunnel, and I said to myself, "What is this?" So I noticed not only I was starting to get these words shown in my dreams, I also started hearing. I heard one time I was sleeping and I thought I heard a man voice, or I thought it was my father house I thought my father inviting people over while I'm sleeping, and the person mentioned about go to Richmond Hill. They kept saying Richmond Hill over and over and over and over, and that was 2011, right? And years later, 2018, I ended up going to Richmond Hill to visit a doctor about my left testicle. Weird. And the man voice the man sound like a white person. A lot of unusual things started happening when I started writing my ideas online, especially on a big community like social anxiety. The community had around how much? I'll say about 10K to 1,000 people online per day. So when these occurrences started happening, that's when I realized something was up. That my right eyeball, had this sharp pain like glass, and it's been happening for it won't go away. It's been nearly a month and it's not going away. So I told my father that something's wrong with my eye. So my father girlfriend looked at my eye and she said, "Oh, you look at the computer too much." But I said, "It's not the computer." She picks on the computer. She's not. It doesn't match. She's picking on the computer. But why would a computer strain the bottom of the eye? The bottom. I'm talking about the weight. It's at the bottom of my eye, and it's not going away. The sharp pain. So this couldn't be the case. So I told my mom that I need to go see some sort of eye doctor. So my mom made an arrangement to go see an eye doctor. So I remember going to the eye doctor, sitting down, and all of a sudden the door opens, and I saw my old classmate from second grade. She has on glasses. I remember her, and it looks like I see an older version of her in front of my face. As she walked in, I said, "I feel like it happened before. Something about this day wasn't right." You know, I'm not too sure where I saw this time and event, but it has to be where when I was sleeping in bed. But I didn't freeze. Yeah, back in 2000 and around 9 or 8. But the time that I saw Gabriella is December 2011. But when she walked in and I turned my head around and I saw her, I said something's definitely not right. And this is how the artificial intelligence works, or we can say the program works. It brings people that you would know, or that yeah, pretty much that you would know that had played an effect with your route and in humanity. This is what made me think that an artificial intelligence is governing human beings. You could be moving to a different state and you end up seeing their family members that you never really saw before, that you didn't even know that lives in Florida. Like, for instance, for me, it was Nadine, and my mom never knew that Nadine lived in Kissimmee, Florida. It could make you uh, get on an airplane and you may see a relative because the artificial intelligence knows who to put on an airplane, especially when it comes to crashing the airplane. And I was so shocked how Gabriella entered into the doctor office with me. She was right there, the eye doctor. She was at the eye doctor with me, and I just couldn't stop looking at her. There's meaning when you see a classmate at the eye doctor, a classmate from 2002 at the eye doctor. There's a meaning to it. What does Gabriella and me have to do? What's the connection between me and Gabriella? Right? Gabriella told Miss Slimer, my second grade teacher, what do you say? Yeah, the second grade teacher, that I slapped her on the face. And I never did. It has meaning because, and not be, not because of that she told Miss Slimer that I slapped her in the face. What has more meaning is how she was serious at that time. She's very serious that I slapped her in her face. The look on her face is serious. And I never even thought of doing that to her because I never did. As like the time when I was with my baby, when I was going to the pool with with my babysitter, Dennis, Jeffrey, Anna. Jocelyn, my sister, we all went to the pool, Liberty Avenue, and someone accused me of kicking my foot on her face. And I'm standing in the pool, and the only person who could have done that was Dennis. He was not in the pool, but he was standing outside the pool talking to me. There's no logical way to say that. I mean, from their perspective, that I actually kicked her in the face because I couldn't. They don't have any. They don't have any explanation to prove that. Only I, because I know I was standing in a pool, and the lifeguard didn't see me standing in a pool. All she saw was Dennis jumping on top. All she saw was the chaos that happened in the pool. Dennis jumped on top of me. She saw the big splash, and then after she saw me rise up from the water, and Dennis rise up from the water, she said that me and him are banned from the pool. And I'm a well behaved person, so I don't understand why this is happening to me. So when I think about that time and event, being in a pool, and the time and event of being in second grade, and a classmate is telling me that I slapped her in the face, this is what makes me think that this is not human. Someone's making them behave that way at that exact time. So there's another time where I notice someone is telling me something that doesn't match the situation. For instance, my mom. It was last year. My sister had a half a day. I was in the library writing my ideas online, as usual, sitting down, itching myself because the library is very itchy, getting irritated. My mom's meet me in the library with my sister, and she said to me, "Let's just take a walk." Me and my sister and mom was walking. Was it? Wait, my mom wasn't. I don't really think my sister was there. It was me and my mom first. Yeah, we was walking around because usually when the artificial intelligence wants to make people say something out of or you could say break out of context, it usually doesn't do that when people are around. For me, at least, they would say it to me when people are not around. Break out of context. So this was my mom. Me and her was walking, and she was talking. Me and her was talking about jobs. Then all of a sudden, she says to me about playing with yourself, playing with yourself, and you're talking about jobs. She said, "Stop playing around." She said, "Stop playing with yourself," instead of saying, "Stop playing around." And then I asked her what she said. She said she don't know what she said, and that's not the first time my mom did something this way, this like that. There was another time that my mom had gave me a communication and said that she didn't know that she said that. She told me that she never said that to me. This was during summer of 2018. At that time, I remember I was volunteering at Regal Park Senior Center because of public assistance. And it was during the weekend. Me and my mom, me and my mom and sister just walking around. And we was heading towards McDonald's. I remember just getting a cheeseburger and french fries. But before even reaching McDonald's, as we crossed the street to get to the side of McDonald's, but McDonald's like a few blocks ahead. My mom said to me, "You said that the people, people do not social. The people, something about people and social." And I'm saying to myself, "What?" And I asked my mom, "What?" My mom didn't complete the sentence. All of a sudden, she starts talking to my sister, and I'm talking to my mom. My mom is not talking to me. She's just kept talking to my sister, as if the conversation never existed. I never seen my mom do something like that. The only person that I saw who did that to me was Nadine back in February 2017. Nadine was my mom invited Nadine without me being aware. She wouldn't allow me to be aware because I was asking her who's coming in. She puts her index fingers in her ears and she starts saying a whole bunch of words all at once. She started just kept rambling over and over. Oh, you stupid, you evil, you stupid kid, you don't want to get stupid. I'm like, who talks this fast? I never seen her talk like that or behave that way before. So the time when Nadine came in, she saw me with my monitor and my laptop. And when I was explaining the situation, Nadine confronted me. As I started talking, Nadine Nadine looked at me, and then she was talking with me. Then she just looked at me, and then she just started talking to my mother, as if the conversation that we had never existed. And I recall when I was a kid how people would, when people speak to me, they talk over my voice. So these are really experiences. This is an experience that I'm talking about. So this video here is about experiences and also how people break out of context. But since I was a little kid, everybody do the same thing. They talk over my voice. So I won't so I can pretty much lose track of my thoughts. And they talk very loud when they're talking over my voice. Or they would talk to me and then all of a sudden they start talking to someone else. They didn't even finish their sentence. Something's wrong with the way they behave. So when my mom told me as we was walking down the street about playing with myself, and I'm talking about jobs and where we're gonna go. Where else are we gonna go besides walking around and 169th Street? She stops talking. She lose track. She said she didn't know. She said she didn't know that she was talking to me. And a person, there was a person who actually talked, or you could say the idea, or you could say it another way. The topic that my mom was talking about me playing with myself, is another person who was talking this way. Mr. Jacob Humphreys, the shelter developer. Oh, yeah, you can say the shelter job developer. I said to myself, something wasn't right here when he was bringing about an idea about myself. So Mr. Jacob Humphreys insisted that I need to come to his interviews, or yeah, pretty much his interviews by myself without my mom. He's keep he was so persistent on doing that. He said, "I don't want to talk to your mom. I want to talk to you." And the day that he actually talked to me is where he was talking about jobs. And then all of a sudden, he questions me about how my left testicle got hit. I said that my hand felt like it moved. And then all of a sudden, I ended up hitting my left testicle. He said to me that doesn't make sense. Then he went from saying that doesn't make sense to questioning me about if I was playing with myself. You see how my mom responds and Mr. Jacob Humphrey's response connected. And there's another person that I had talked about during part two and part one of Breaking Out of Context. The We Care employee, the 32-year-old guy, he said that he saw a gentleman, or might as well, the way he talking, like he was in the bathroom with the gentleman. He said that the gentleman had a laptop in the bathroom, the man's bathroom, and he was masturbating to porn using the WeCare Wi-Fi, and it has nothing to do. What does that has to do with me? Because he was trying to introduce an idea about my laptop to fit in words that are really unnecessary for his sentence. It doesn't even sound like a sentence. Like someone's forcing him to fit these words into a sentence to look like it's actually a sentence. And there's another person who is speaking this way towards me. My father. When I was a kid, or rather than a kid, when I was a teenager, my father kept always, every time he talked to me, he said, "Do you go to mybabydaddy.com?" He refers to porn. "Do you go to baby.com or mydaddy.com?" I'm saying to myself, what is it? What is he talking about? The same person that, or you could say my father, same person who said that to me, ends up saying, as soon as I started living with him and his girlfriend, my father's had this out of nowhere when I was doing my homework. My father sat down on a couch, and then he starts talking about himself. He said that he plays with himself. And what I'm saying to myself, what is this? What does this have to do with me? Sitting here on my laptop, minding my own business, and my own father is questioning me about if I play with myself, and then saying that he plays with himself too. He did. I don't even. I never even gave him a response. He said there were two. I'm like, why? Why is he so interested in talking about this topic? This is not normal. So this is how I'm saying to myself. That's this is what makes me think that someone is making them think this way. Someone is designing a mentality for the people at at a specific time to talk to me in this fashion. That's what made me think that someone this phone. Sorry, having issues with my phone.